Well, welcome, welcome. Here we are. We've begun our approach, our descent and our approach into Sedona. Left John Wayne about 40 minutes ago. Looks like it's about an hour and 10-minute flight in the TBM from KSNA to KSEZ, Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu. Anyway, we flew IFR at flight level 290, 29,000 feet. We've just been instructed to begin our descent to 23,000 feet, flight level 230. Interesting challenge, kind of a challenge, something different on this flight. Sedona.
Whiskey Bravo, you are 85 miles west. Descend and maintain 15,000 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 20 approach. Tree Whiskey Bravo, descend and maintain 8,300 feet.
We're going to hold off on that descent instruction.
Descend and maintain 8,300 feet. Expect vectors visual runway 20 approach. Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so let me explain what's been going on. When I filed my IFR flight plan, the winds in Sedona were prevailing out of the northwest. That is the northwest. Through and during this flight, they've changed. First they shifted from the north, now they're from the northeast. So I had originally planned to land at runway 20. If you see, I think it's actually runway 21. This is interesting. 1 second. Did they tell us 20? No, 21. Anyway, I had filed to land at 21, but the winds are out of the north at this point, according to the most recent METAR just a couple minutes ago. So I need to change my runway that I'm going to land at. I've had a lot of issues doing this in the past, where I try to make changes and the changes I can input into the flight plan without any problems. And in point of fact, I did that this time. Because I do not want to land at runway 21. I want to land at runway 3. Now there's no ILS approach into runway 3. There is, however, a published GPS approach into runway 3. That required me to add 3 waypoints into my flight plan. I'll show them to you. Originally, the plan was to go from DRRTY to JUWSO and then just straight to KSEZ, KSEZ. And then there's no tower there, and so I'm presuming that I would have just switched to VFR and handled the approach and flight and landing myself. You know, maybe just fly right base, left base, whatever, and then turn around and come in here. But because the winds have shifted from where they were, which is kind of coming from this way, then mid-flight they turn kind of this way. Now they're kind of coming from this way, a little crosswind. So I have to land in this direction. So I added EXUTY, LYRIT, and LOMBB. EXUTY, LYRIT, and LOMBB. Hey, we got some ice that just showed up. Stand by. Got our pitot heat on, so that's no issue, but let's check our wings. Kind of see right there. Looks okay. Anyways, we descended through those clouds. We got a little icing. That's going to not be a problem for long here. We'll take care of that. Anyway, bottom line is, I just got cleared and told to expect the visual approach to runway 21, but that's not what they should be doing, because the prevailing winds, I know, are and would require an approach and landing at runway 3, not runway 21. I think that it's sticking to that 21 runway landing because of the flight plan I filed. But I'm not going to land there. I'm not going to land at 21. So what I'll do is I'll get down to an altitude that brings us into VFR world, visual flight rules world. Then I'll cancel the IFR, and then I can land wherever I damn well please. had a similar thing happen at Dutch Harbor, except the plan at Dutch Harbor had always been to land at the runway I landed at. I just didn't know how ATC is going to vector me in. I mean, I knew how they vector me in, but they're not going to... I didn't know what to expect, and this is even more complicated because this is a little more complicated because we're having to change our landing runway. So let me be clear, I'm sure that there are answers to all this stuff. Of course there are. And obviously having to change an approach and landing runway mid-flight must happen all the time, but not my experience. So we can cancel it IFR here soon enough, and then I will follow this approach that I inputted from JUWSO, dirty to JUWSO, EXUTY, LYRIT, and LOMBB. At EXUTY, we need to be at 6,000 feet. I'm sorry, 8,000 feet. At LYRIT, we need to be at 6,600 feet. The airport has an airport elevation of 4,800 feet. So armed with that information, I can do what I need to do, I think. We're below 18,000, so we'll correct our barometer. I am told that the nearest barometric pressure is 3019, but I don't know that. That is the same in the sim, so let's check. Okay, it came up as 30.00 as our correct altimeter. We're closing in on, let's slow our descent a little bit here. 1,400 feet per minute at this point. We're cleared down to 15,000 now. We should expect further descent instructions from ATC here momentarily. If not, I'll use this as an opportunity to cancel IFR. DRK is 3 minutes 51 seconds away, 16 nautical miles. The ForeFlight app is listing estimated time en route to our destination at 14 minutes. That'll actually slow down, or actually be more than that, a little, because the aircraft is slowing down. The 14-minute estimate is based on our current airspeed, which, as you can see, is dropping slowly. Little tailwind, 1.5. It'll be interesting to see if the winds on the ground at Sedona are the same as they are on the official METAR NETAR.
Bravo, please expedite your descent to 8,300 feet.
8,300. Must have, I think I heard that instruction and I was a little skeptical because 8,300 feet seems kind of low with all these mountains, but let's do it. It's completely VFR, these conditions, so I'm not too worried about being vectored into a mountain. Anyway, as I was saying, it'll be interesting to see if the weather in the sim at Sedona is consistent with the official, actual weather at Sedona, which I'll tell you right now, just from looking at my phone. It says that the winds are from the east now, 090 at 7 miles an hour, 6 knots, 3.1 meters per second. So again, the winds have completely shifted. What is this? Is it a lake or something? I don't know. Caught my attention. Anyway, the winds have completely shifted, almost 180 from where they were when I took off from John Wayne to where they are now. They've gone from out of the west, winds coming from this direction, now winds coming from this direction. Further evidence that I need to land on runway 3 right here on the compass, because the winds are coming from this direction. I want to land in that direction, into the wind. Now they're coming a little bit from an angle, from a side, from our right, so there will be a crosswind. And again, I say there will be a crosswind. Maybe. maybe there'll be a crosswind. Assuming the weather at the airport is updated to real weather that I'm picking up from the sim. I'm sorry, from the official automated weather observation system at Sedona, which again is showing at this time temperature 73 degrees, dew point 48, relative humidity is 41%. Pressure at our destination is 3019, 1022 millibars. Winds are from the east at 7 knots, correction 6 knots. Visibility is 10 miles, ceiling's 11,000 feet. AGL. Scattered clouds at 4,900, scattered clouds at 6,500, broken clouds 11,000. So, more than comfortable to land in. We're not DRK. After that's dirty, then JUWSO, then EXUTY. Remember, at EXUTY we want to be at 8,000 feet. So we can shallow out our descent rate even more because, why? Well, because dirty, which is a funny name for a waypoint, we're 4 minutes from dirty. We're descending at 900 feet per minute. 9 times 4 is 3,600 feet, which puts us well below 8,000, or our assigned descent altitude. So I'm going to shallow us out even more. Very interesting right here. I'm noticing no wind data. So we'll see if that means that the winds are shifting as I suspect that they are. Or at least as I know that they are in real life. Already programmed in our barometric minimum, 6,140 feet. I'd certainly be more anxious about doing this in the dark or in IMC, since it's a non-precision approach. They're upset with us for not descending fast enough. But I'm like, ATC, we don't need to be at 8,300 feet for miles and miles. We're 3 minutes and 22 seconds from our next waypoint, dirty. 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Let's do the math. 600 feet per minute, 3 minutes, 1,800 feet, 10,600 feet, minus 1,800 is about 8,800 feet. That's plenty, because then from dirty we go to JUWSO, JUWSO we go to EXUTY. There's only 500 feet of altitude difference between dirty and EXUTY. Remember, we need to be at 8,000 feet, or roughly that anyway. So why they want to rush us down like this is a little weird. Oh, look at this! Look at this!
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo, please expedite your descent to 8,300 feet.
See the wind changing? Now the wind's coming towards us. So who knows? Maybe the wind on the ground will be consistent with the METAR. Once we get below 10,000, I'll cancel IFR and VFR fly this in. Getting some radar returns, but it doesn't appear as though there's any actual rain or anything on the ground. It might be mountains, if you ask me. 2 minutes now from dirty. We're below 10,000. I'm going to cancel IFR, hand fly this in. Not hand fly it in, excuse me, but visually fly it in. Cancel IFR. By the way, no.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo, please expedite your descent to 8,300 feet.
How's this? Drop dead. Can I say that in this game? Select another approach. That's interesting. I'd like to. I wonder if this will work. If I select GPS runway 3, using the JUWSO transition, which is what I've got pre-programmed in. See how I just request approach from controller. Let's see if that works.
Delta Tree Whiskey Bravo would like GPS runway tree approach JUWSO transition.
Oh, what do you know? Let's see if that works. Uh-oh. See? This is what happened in my approach into Renton. See? They just ignore it.
Tree Whiskey Bravo, please expedite your descent to 8,300 feet.
Okay, let's. I am going to expedite my. Are you going to respond to my request? Yeah, see, this is.
Tree Whiskey Bravo, contact Phoenix approach on ONE
26.375. Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Boy, this is pretty desert out here. High altitude desert.
Phoenix approach Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is out at 8,900 feet for 8,300
Boy, they're
feet.
bringing us right in over these peaks.
Dare November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Phoenix approach, continue as planned. Altimeter tree 0.04.
See, nobody's responded to my request. Nobody.
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo would like GPS runway tree approach JUWSO transition.
Wow, right over the tops. Okay, so you see what I mean? How they just ignore you when you ask for a change. So, cancel IFR.
Phoenix approach Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo would like to cancel IFR.
We're gonna hold at 8,300.
Bravo, IFR flight plan is canceled. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
Boy, that's pretty.
Phoenix approach Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is type Docker TBM 96 miles northwest of Papa 52. Request flight following.
Dare November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Phoenix approach. Squawk 0071.
Let's get this over with.
Squawk 0071 Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay.
Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo, radar contact 5 miles northwest of Papa 52, 8,300 feet. Altimeter tree 0.04.
Copy Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
3004. Adjust our
Sierra
altimeter.
Echo Zulu traffic Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo 16 miles west 8,300 feet inbound to land runway 20NE.
No, I'm not inbound to land at runway 2. ONE. God. Ugh. Time for another patch, boys. Boy, that's irritating. Anyway, you can see there is a protocol, an in-sim protocol for doing what I want to do, which is to change my approach. But it just doesn't react. It doesn't do anything, so you're kind of screwed. I don't know what I guess I'd be shit out of luck if I had to, if I were in IMC conditions, and I guess you have to just blatantly violate the rules and land without clearance on a runway that you're not allowed to land at. But in any case, what I'm doing in this situation is plausible. That is, canceling IFR and just doing a visual approach under completely VFR conditions. That's not a big problem. Anyway, you see here we are closing in on EXUTY. 2 minutes from 1 minute 52 seconds from EXUTY. At EXUTY, we want to be at 8,000 feet, so we'll adjust our assigned altitude down to 8,000 feet and increase our descent rate not increase it, but just set a descent rate of about 200 feet per minute. That'll have us at 8,000 feet at EXUTY. I would like to announce, select a runway for landing. Let's see what they say. Runway 3. Not what they say, but okay, I'll announce my position.
Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu traffic Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo 13 miles southwest 8,200 feet inbound to land runway tree.
13 miles out. At least now I've announced on the Unicom the runway at which I intend to land. So we'll make a left turn here as we close in on EXUTY. We know our next altitude is 6,600 feet at LYRIT, right here. So we'll change our altitude down to 6,600 feet. Continue our descent. Once we make that left turn, I'll put the gear down. Increase our descent rate slightly. Keep in mind we are just 30 seconds now from EXUTY, and then once we get to EXUTY, we'll see how far we are from LYRIT. I can actually check that now if I wanted to by checking the FPL, but I want to keep my eyes on the sky here. Making that left turn now. Airport's going to be out here somewhere. Let's see if we can see it. Should be able to have visual on the airport at this distance. But I remember from seeing a few guys fly this on YouTube that it's a kind of it's a weird airport location. It's like nestled on top of a plateau, like a butte. So you see these escarpments kind of sweep up to it. It might be up on top of one of these things. To be honest, we'll find out. I've never landed here. Descending at 7,700 now. I'm going to put the gear down. Just lead off a little more airspeed. We are 1 minute from LYRIT, and we're at 7,600 feet. We need to be at 6,600 feet. We're descending at 400 feet per minute. Increase our descent rate to 1,000 feet per minute. Put our gear down. We have 1 minute to get down 1,000 feet, which means we need to be descending at 1,000 feet per minute. No problem. Oh, I see the airport now. You see how it's on top of this butte? Here's this little plateau on top of this. That's the airport right there. Right there. So we're good. Now 35 seconds from LYRIT. I kill the weather map right now and zoom in slightly. LYRIT right here now 24 seconds out. Looking good. Gonna pop up in the seat here. Once we deploy flaps, this will be a little less awkward. This is beautiful. Wow. This runway, or this airport rather, flap deployment. This airport is one of the handcrafted fancy ones that Microsoft's bragged about. So let's see how it looks up close and personal here in a minute. Everything looks good. We are established on the GPS approach to runway 3. Still listing no wind data, so that's not consistent with what the METAR says. We've got winds. Final flap deployment. You see that brings our nose down, makes it a little easier to see. Airspeed now dropping 93, 92. Inertial separator, let's get that on. Turn off all this anti-icing equipment at this point. Acknowledge master caution. Kill the autopilot now that we have the airplane fully configured. Established on final. You look at our CDI, this magenta thing right here, that shows we are aligned. Looks like there's an aircraft on the runway. Oh, get out of the way, pal. Looks like he's exiting right, I hope. Just got a
Kilo Sierra Echo Zulu traffic Doppler November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is on final runway tree to land.
Notice that our inertial separator's on from the master caution, no problem. Airspeed's good. Little bit low. So that airplane, I can see its anti-collision lights. It's off the runway now, thankfully. Hopefully he's not flying circuits, or if he is, he sees me as he turns around. I'm actually encouraged to see that he was taking off from the same runway that I'm landing at. That is, in the same direction, because he may have the same impression about wind data that I do. Aircraft itself is not picking up any wind data, but we were showing 6 knots. Reconfirm 3 in the green. Yes, landing gear's down. 1 mile final. Make sure our airspeed doesn't drop uncomfortably. Boy, I don't know what that airplane out in front of me is doing. He's doing some some pretty impressive maneuvering there. I hope he sees me. his red light is on the right, and we know in aviation that red on the right means that they're headed towards you. In other words, red on the right, you're not all right. I can actually see a poppy now, thank goodness. White, red, 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 so I'm a tiny bit low, but I'm glad to have that guidance. 500 feet, AGL. I'm glad to have that guidance. For this approach. Runway's 5,200 feet long. So we'll probably... Now we're bouncing around a little bit, but I'm not showing any wind data. Almost seems like light and variable. Perfect altitude. Reconfirm runway 3, we're good. Looks like we're going to be a little bit long of those 1,000-foot markers, but not terribly so. Idle on the throttle, idle. Oh! Ooh, a little bounce there. That was not the prettiest landing I've executed, but again, I have the settings on hard, so I think that you know, in terms of it replicating stresses put on the aircraft and so on and so forth, I'll rewatch that, see just what I think about that landing. Not butter. That's true, not butter. Okay, let's announce that we're clear of the runway. You see how this
Sierra Echo Zulu traffic Dover November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is clear of the runway.
This airport's much more detailed than normal. There's no ground control, but looking at the airport diagram, which I have thanks to ForeFlight, you can see where general aviation parking is, and you can also see, just look for the other planes, frankly. Got a whole bunch down here. So we'll clean up the aircraft here, bring in our flaps, kill the landing lights, pulse lights off, and let's boogie over to what I hope to be an airport cafeteria. I'm in Sedona for the night. No plan to go anywhere after this. I am using my rudder pedals, believe it or not. I thought I might have to tinker with the sensitivity in order to get them to work, but they actually seem okay. There's another airplane right there. Just saw them for an instant. They actually seem okay. I tried them in the 152, and they were oversensitive, but they actually seem fine. Where to park? Well, let's follow this a little bit further. Head over here. I see what looks promising as a possible airport cafe. Well, that's nice. Little tables. Proper social distancing. You know, it's kind of nice to be able to steer with my feet. When I flew FSX, I always used rudder pedals, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. Okay, let's go over here with the other little planes. Find what appears to be a decent parking space, maybe over here by the fuel. It is a little bit like riding a bike in terms of using the rudder pedals. Kind of comes back to you. But still different using your feet to steer. We'll just park it right here. God, look at those cars. Wow. A little bit more. Yeah, I was surprised to see the my rudder pedals actually aren't half bad. Just need to take a little getting used to. Okay. I don't know where that why that popped up. Parking brakes on. Inertial separators off. Come on. There you go.
Oral warning, okay.
Excuse me. AP trim off. Fuel selector to manual. And I kill the remaining lights that we have. Taxi light off, nav, strobe off. And depressurize the airplane. Okay. That's that. Went very well. I'll study that later. That landing. I think it'd be really neat if they gave you a like they do in the challenges where they tell you what your vertical speed was when you landed. I've had a lot of luck on a lot of these longer runways. It's easy to get lucky on a longer runway. But this is definitely going to have different dynamics because not only is it only a 5,000-foot runway, which isn't that short, but it's at altitude because we're 4,800 feet up. And things act different when you're landing at altitude. Anyway, we're here in Sedona for the evening. Airplane's all buttoned up. Take a look outside. I love the sound effects. Look at this. Wowzers. I don't generally like this other camera that we use, but let's try it. I find it to be, I don't know, it's a pain in the ass. Maybe it's less so with a like an Xbox controller or something. But to use the keyboard is a bitch. I'm sorry, but it is. There we go. Let's press the R button, zoom out. I guess I'm being that guy because the parking space I picked is the fuel station. Oh, look at the putting green. That's a hoot. Anyway, flew in. Oh, look at this guy. What's this guy doing? He's not landing. Whatever he's doing. Anyway, we came from out here, way out in Southern California, over these mountains, like this, past EXUTY and LYRIT, LOMBB, LOMBB, and then landed right here. And I think we took this taxiway and taxied this way, and there we are. Okay, that's it for now. Have a good one.